All right, man. So, all right. So, these are. This is the patch notes for February 6, 2024. The following notes are for our upcoming February 6, 2024 patch. It is scheduled to begin rolling out on console and PC at roughly 2 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. The patch will address the following issues. Here we go. Patch notes. Fixed various issues where victims are stuck in incapacitation animation. We fixed an issue where victims who were hit by a family member while going down a ladder would get stuck in the incapacitation animation. We also fixed an issue where victims who were incapacitated by Leatherface's thrust in a gap would also get stuck in the incapacitation animation. Victims were able to still move around while being stuck in the animation. For incapacitated female victims, this occurred too. Their teammates could only see them in the spot where they got incapacitated, making their movements invisible to others. Texture issues on Nancy's house. There was an issue with where textures would appear black or unnatural in the front garden flower beds. This has been fixed. Fixed missing notification for basement door closing. We have fixed the problem where if a family member closed the basement fuse door, or if it automatically closed, the basement fuse door would not show that it was closing to both family and victim players. Now, a notification is shown when the basement fuse door closes. Fixed Jack-in-the-Box perk. Activating too soon. The Jack-in-the-Box perk would activate when victim players were in the animation state for exiting a hiding spot. This meant that most of the perk's duration was occurring during the animation. This has been fixed too, so the Jack-in-the-Box perk activates after the exit animation. Fixed incorrect values for leveled up perks and abilities. We have fixed the visual UI bug that did not show the correct XP gained on perks and abilities during the post-game results screen. This issue only occurred when skipping the results screen. Fixed. Two of the same grandpa perks in Nancy's skill tree. We fixed an issue where Nancy had two of the same grandpa perks barged to the point in her skill tree. Now she no longer has barged to the point in her skill tree twice. Fixed. Nancy's spy ability exploit. Nancy's spy ability would not drain and be used indefinitely, nor would it notify victims if the player Nancy would slam a door and walk through it. This exploit is now fixed. Fixed UI bug showing 0 out of 0 XP and -1 ability in loadouts. Some players were experiencing the issue where their ability was showing -1 or 0 out of 0 XP. This has now been fixed. Fixed typo in Nancy's character bio. We have fixed the typo in Nancy's character bio. The typo was she's been married 3 times. Now it will read as she's been married 3 times. Oh, so it said 3 twice. So they fixed that. Fixed Slippery on Danny's perk tree. We have fixed the issue where the perk tree Slippery was not on Danny's perk tree. Slippery can now be unlocked on Danny's perk tree through a random perk node. Fixed skill points not refunding. A fix has been added to so that skill points used on a purchased DLC character will be refunded to a player if they return their DLC purchase. Fixed ladder lacking collision on Nancy's house. We have fixed an issue where We have fixed an issue with the ladder in the cold room on Nancy's house that lacked collision. Fixed. Profile prompt non-function player list. We fixed an issue where a player's profile was not visible when using the profile prompt in the player's list menu. Players will now be able to open another player's profile from the player list. Fixed. Character swap lobby crashes. A fix has occurred for lobby crashes. Because the sender of a character swap request has either hit ready or quits the lobby before the receiver accepts the request, the lobby will now remain functional. Fixed. Nancy's collecting poison animation. We have fixed an issue where Nancy collecting poison animation would still play even if a player cancels out of the action. During this animation, players also could not move or control Nancy, and Sissy could use the table at the same time. This will no longer occur. Fixed Nancy's dress clipping through her body. We fixed an issue where Nancy's dress would clip through her body when idling, running, sprinting, executing, and closing crawl spaces. Fixed anonymized player names showing during escapes. There was an issue where a player who had anonymized player name setting on would have their name shown to other players when they escaped. This has been fixed, and now anonymized player names will be hidden. The only issue I have with the anonymized player thing is it doesn't anonymize your name. Like if you're a streamer and you want to stream this game and you want to make it harder for people to stream snipe you, you should have the option to make your own name anonymous to everybody else. Because I turned that anonymous, I had that on and people were calling me by my real name, and like I had somebody like cursing me out in the lobby, just because they wanted to curse people out in the lobby saying my real name while I was streaming. And it was just ridiculous. It's like, why would I care if anybody else's name is anonymous? How can I make my own name anonymous in the game if I'm streaming it? Like, why is my name exposed if I want to make my own name anonymous? Why do I care what other people's names are? I don't care about that. Let me make my name anonymous, and then it'll be harder for people to stream snipe or whatever they do, or people who want to be racist or whatever, or just be negative in the lobby and say all manner of horrible, life-threatening things, which they do, depending on who you play as. I played as Danny and had people threaten to shoot me because they're so hopped up on these YouTubers talking about him being pay to win, and he really isn't. He isn't pay to win. People just don't want to play the game. They don't want to challenge. They want everything to be easy, honestly. That's what it boils down to. So many people leave when they see Danny, and it's just absolutely, it's so ridiculous. Like, he's not invincible. He's killable. And if you play family properly, like, people only play the one side. They don't play both sides. They play a lot of victim. And when I play family, I know exactly how to defend because I play a lot of victim. When I play family, I know how to defend the maps properly because I play victim. I know how a victim thinks, and so I know what they're going to go for and how they're going to do it. I'm not the best at it, but I know what I'm doing, and I'm not going to blame every loss I have on a Danny. Like, that's ridiculous, Take some responsibility and learn how to play the game a little bit better. Just learn from your mistakes. Maybe record your gameplay and find out what you did wrong. It's not all the other players. Sometimes it's you, too. It's important to remember that. Alright, fixed camera clipping issues. We have fixed the camera clipping that occurs on the ladder between Thicket Tunnel and Thicket area on the gas station. Fixed stuck spots on gas station. We fixed an issue where traversing through a side gap after trying to pick up a bone scrap would make a player stuck. We fixed Hitchhiker getting stuck on the gap from house basement to junk room. We fixed players getting stuck while descending the ladder in the tool shed and being attacked at the same time. We fixed family players getting stuck in the pipe assets in the fuel storage room of the basement. The pipe has been removed so family members can't get stuck on it now. Fixed stuck spots in Nancy's house. We fixed an issue where players would get stuck on the edge of the mattress in the house basement. Fixed Nancy's glasses on low setting. Nancy's glasses would refract incorrectly on low settings. This is now fixed. Fixed loadouts not saving after restarting game. We fixed an issue where loadouts were not saving when a player closed out of the game and then started it back up. Fixed loading screen German translation not fitting screen. There was an issue with a specific tip on the loading screen where it would not fit the screen when translated to German. Fixed victims ragdolling during Cook's easier said than done execution. We have fixed an issue where victim players would ragdoll during Cook's easier said than done execution. Fixed loadouts resetting during custom match. We have fixed an issue where loadouts were resetting to default perks when completing a custom match. Fixed Danny tampering the generator. We have fixed an issue where Danny players tampering a turned off generator would only apply the cooldown after it's been turned off again. This fix ensures that tampering a turned off generator applies the longer cooldown after the minigame is complete. Fixed must have been the win perk waking up Grandpa. We have fixed the perk must have been the win. Now noise generated during minigames with this perk will be disregarded and will not add to waking up Grandpa. Fixed new player negative values. We fixed an issue where new players would see negative values on their family characters' special abilities, and they would not receive any XP during public matches. Fixed Nancy House escapes. We fixed an issue where unique escapes on Nancy's house were not being recorded. Fixed Grandpa's sonar warning. There was an issue where Grandpa's sonar warning was not displaying while the critical bleed out warning was active. This has now been fixed. This means that Grandpa's sonar warning takes priority over the critical bleed out warning, and that both warnings are present simultaneously. In regard to Nancy's house escapes, I feel like if each map had its own unique escape, that escape should be a bonus. I feel like that escape should be more valuable than the other escapes on that map. If a map has its own unique form of an escape, that escape should be more valuable. And because I like the idea of each map having its own unique escape to it, aside from everything else you can use to get out on it. I feel like that's fun. I feel like that makes that map a little bit more valuable as opposed to every map having the same objectives on them. I like that there are multiple unique ways out. However, I feel like if they are going to stay consistent with new maps having unique escapes, that unique escape should be more valuable. Just like when Leatherface does the gallows kill, that unique kill is more valuable. So a unique escape for victim on that specific map, that's specific to that map, should be more valuable as well. I feel like that's only fair and that's surely balanced, you know what I mean? Alright, inaudible door destruction. We fixed an audio issue where the sound for destroying a pantry door in Nancy's house was inaudible from the inside. It will now be audible from all sides. Fixed Sunny's audio during close encounters with Cook. We fixed an audio issue where Sunny players who lost a close encounter to Cook would have a female scream. Now it will be Sunny's scream. Fixed camera movements on ladder with Cook. We fixed an issue that occurs when Cook uses the ladder between the side garden and side garden tunnel on Family House. The issue would make the Cook move freely when Cook would descend the ladder. With this fix, the camera will remain stable and transition smoothly while traversing. Fixed family member misalignment while closing valve. We fixed the issue where family members would be misaligned when from the valve handle when trying to close the valve pipe. Fixed invisible collision on Family House. We fixed the issue where invisible collision was present near the shed area on Family House. Fixed texture issue on Slaughterhouse. Texture on the railing by the stairs in the loading dock would be dark if the shadow setting was set to low. This has been fixed to where the railing texture is not dark when changing settings. Issues with Leland's skill tree. The been working out perk on Leland's skill tree is incorrectly valued at 1 SP instead of 2 SP. This caused Leland's skill tree on the left-hand side to go to level 9 instead of 10, and only receive 49 out of 50 attributes. Players will now be able to reach maximum level as we have added attribute points to his skill tree. Fixed localization issues. We fixed an issue where Danny's apply knowledge prompt is not localized to languages other than English. We fixed an issue where the mute all and unmute all prompt was not localized for other languages. Leatherface camera issues. We fixed an issue where the camera moves downward and focuses on Leatherface's leg when collection from blood buckets. Fixed various camera issues. We fixed an issue where the camera would snap heavily around when a player got too close to parts of the fence on the side ramp of Nancy's house. Nancy's barbed wire interactions. When Nancy is in a certain position, her barbed wire animation when placing them in doorway gets interrupted. We have fixed this so now players can successfully place their barbed wire regardless of position. Fixed tracker tag perk stacking. We have fixed an issue where the perk tracker tagged highlight duration was stacking after attacking a victim multiple times. Tampering having no effect on open valve. We have fixed an issue where Danny's players have no effect when tampering an open valve. This fix means that tampering an open valve as Danny will increase the time that the valve is open for. Fixed stuck spots on Slaughterhouse. We have fixed an issue where family players would get stuck in the doorway near a blood bucket in Leatherface's lair. We fixed the spot where victims who crouched next to the pipes in the bone room would get stuck. Fixed choose fight perk not working. We fixed an issue where the perk choose fight was not activating correctly at all 3 levels. Level 3 was not giving the extra 5-second stun duration. Now when a victim has this equipped and wins the close encounter, the current stun duration is added. Fixed falling through map during Leatherface execution. We have fixed the issue where victims and Leatherface will fall through the map when Leatherface's drilling down execution starts. Fixed missing Nancy facial expressions. We fixed an issue where Nancy was missing her facial expression when feeding Grandpa. Fixed incorrect Nicotero chainsaw SFX during intro. We fixed an issue where players with Nicotero Leatherface heard the default chainsaw SFX instead of Nicotero's chainsaw SFX sound effects during the intro cutscene. Fixed victims falling through ground while traversing. Victims who were traversing through a gap from the holding pen to the garage on Slaughterhouse would fall through the ground. With this fix, players will no longer fall through the ground when traversing the gap. Fixed victim and family hiding spot stuck spot. We fixed an issue where when a family member and a victim interact with a hiding spot at the same time, they both get stuck. Fixed select and back same input issue. The select and back prompt in the player's report screen share the same input on affected platforms. This means that players would accidentally back out of the menu instead of hitting select. The issue is now fixed, and select and back have different button inputs. Fixed Nicotero Leatherface chainsaw audio. We have fixed an issue where the chainsaw audio would sound like it would stop revving during the drilling down execution when Nicotero Leatherface was equipped. Fixed various lighting issues. We have fixed an issue where there was flickering lights on the wall of the barn area of the family house day map. We have fixed an issue with lamp shadows appearing too noticeable when approaching it in the front garden area on Nancy's house. Idle victim voice lines. We have fixed an issue where victims would trigger their idle voice lines at the end of the intro cinematic. Fixed victims falling through maps during executions. We have fixed an issue where victims will fall through the floor when executed during incapacitation at the fuse box tunnel area on the family house map. We have fixed when victims fall through the floor during Nancy's roadkill execution on staircases. Fixed illogical hiding volumes. There was an illogical hiding volume next to the car in the backfield area on gas station. This affected both variants of the map. There was an illogical hiding volume in the kitchen area on gas station. Hiding volume is now appropriate in all areas. I have no idea what the fuck that means. I wish they would explain what hiding volume means. Anyways. Fixed Sissy and Nancy misaligned while collecting powder. We fixed the issue where Sissy and Nancy were misaligned when collecting powder across various flower stations on all maps. Now, they are properly aligned. Fixed victims stuck in wall. We have fixed the issue where victim players who ran through bone charms and then immediately went through a barricade would get stuck in the wall. Fixed fight back and easily tuckered out stacked stamina depletion. When a victim wins a close encounter with the perk Fight Back at level 3 against a family member, with the perk Easily Tuckered Out at level 1, they stack and puts the family player in a state of stamina depletion. This means that the family member with Easily Tuckered Out equipped was unable to run or attack for 30 seconds of the Fight Back perk duration. We have fixed these perks stacking with one another. Now family players will not have their stamina drained into negative values. There They Are perk description. We have fixed the description for the perk There They Are. The in-game description did not mention the perk's highlight duration. The perk description now reflects the highlight duration of 10 seconds to the perk's holder. Fixed Bounce Back Better perk restoring too much health. We have fixed an issue where Bounce Back Better activated and restores more health than intended when recovering from incapacitation, which is not a healing item. Now perk holders will only receive increased health when using a healing item as intended. Fixed Am I Bleeding perk issue. We fixed an issue where the Am I Bleeding perk would lose functionality when a player enters a hiding spot, and did not continue to highlight the perk holder to their fellow victim players. It will now function when a player enters a hiding spot. Fixed Danny's immunity charges aren't being consumed. We fixed an issue where Danny players with the perk immunity equipped was not functioning properly. The perk's charges were not being consumed after interacting with poison objects such as the generator, toolboxes, car batteries, and bone scrap piles. Now the charges will be consumed after interacting with poisoned objects. Fixed illogical sound occlusion on Slaughterhouse. We fixed an issue where sound is occluded in the drainage area even though there's no wall that separates it from the rest of the interior. Fixed non-functional VoIP after losing internet connection. We fixed the issue where VoIP did not work in a match if internet connection was briefly lost. Fixed Texas Through and Through unlocking incorrectly. There was a problem where Texas Through and Through would unlock when players only had 5 random characters at level 5. This has been fixed to unlock when players have reached level 5 with each character as intended. Fixed Stuck in the Wall gap when incapacitated. There was an issue where if a player got incapacitated while going through a wall gap or crawl space, they would get stuck in that spot. That has now been fixed. Fixed Johnny's execution issue. During Johnny's torn apart execution, he is seen using the dull side of the blade in the animation. This has been fixed so that Johnny is seen using the sharp side of the blade to slice through a victim's throat. Fixed fuse box interactions. We have fixed an issue where players couldn't interact with the fuse box. Prompts for the fuse box will now properly appear for players. Fixed victims not receiving XP. We have fixed an issue where victim players weren't receiving XP when escaping the basement on Nancy's house map. Victim players will now earn the proper XP when escaping the basement on Nancy's house. Fixed various audio issues. We have fixed an issue where victim voiceover was missing when triggering hitchhiker's traps. We have fixed an issue where victim's voiceover was missing when triggering Nancy's barbed wire. Fixed translated character bio. We have fixed an issue where the bio for Nancy was not translating to player's selected language. Nancy's bio will now translate correctly to the selected language. Fixed translated perk description. We have fixed an issue where the description for the perk Choose Flight was not translating to player's selected language. The perk Choose Flight will now translate correctly to the selected language. Fixed various audio issues. We have fixed an issue where the sound effects of destroying Nancy's traps were not triggering. The correct sound effect will now trigger when destroying Nancy's traps. Fixed players skipping end user license agreement. We have fixed an issue where players could skip the end user license agreement when receiving an invitation on a native platform. Fixed spectating UI bug when loading into a match. We have fixed an issue where players would load into a match with the teammates spectating UI on their screen. Fixed agitator perk affecting Grandpa's sonar. We have fixed an issue where a victim would stab Grandpa with the perk agitator equipped and Grandpa's sonar wasn't lasting the length of his scream. Grandpa's sonar duration will now function correctly after being stabbed by a victim with agitator equipped. Fixed victim stuck in incapacitation from Leatherface thrust attack through a gap. We fixed an issue where a victim low on health was thrust attacked through a gap by incapacitated. Leatherface would be stuck in an incapacitated state. Fixed being thrust attacked through a gap by Leatherface, victims will now be able to recover and stand up from their incapacitated state. Fixed character textures. We have fixed an issue where characters' textures would disappear when a user moved far away from them. Characters will now have the same textures applied to them at all distances. Fixed family stun lock from Barge. We have fixed an issue where family players were permanently stunned from a Leland player using their shoulder barge while the family player was in a close encounter with another victim. I've dealt with that. Fixed Nancy's reduce ability cooldown description. We fixed an issue where Nancy's reduced ability cooldown has a misleading description. Since Nancy's ability can no longer be cancelled after activating, the description now fits the in-game behavior. Fixed Nancy's Poison Claws stacking. We have fixed an issue where the perk Poison Claws on the left side of Nancy's skill tree was stacking when it shouldn't have. Fixed Danny's tampering minigame animation. We have fixed the animation error that would make Danny leave the tampering minigame too quickly if he used knowledge to complete the minigame. Danny will now have to sit through the whole animation. Fixed screen capture control center overlay issues. We have fixed an issue where if a player is using screen capture or using control center overlay, it will hold button inputs. Now it will no longer hold those inputs. Fixed stuck in UI menu. Fixed an issue where players would access the character menu while readied up in the lobby. Fixed max stealth noise progress meter. We have fixed an issue where victims with maxed out stealth were able to conclude minigames without adding any progress to the noise meter. Players will now always have their noise meter progress. Fixed highlighting different players issue. We have fixed an issue where players would highlight someone in the player list but would accidentally block or mute themselves or someone else by accident. Now players have to click on another player to proceed with an action. Fixed title soft locks. We have fixed an issue where the title soft locked after pressing the invite and back buttons in rapid succession from the party options. Fixed player hitchhiker's trap not triggering. We have fixed an issue where with the ladder drop animation where victims avoided triggering hitchhiker's trap when dropping off a ladder. When dropping down from a tall ladder, victims will no longer trigger hitchhiker's traps. Fixed well-stuck spot on Family House. We have fixed an issue where victims were getting stuck on the ground after jumping down the driveway and the front yard wells on the Family House map. Fixed match crashes. We have fixed an issue where matches would crash when a victim disconnects in the middle of an execution. Fixed family XP with fuse box. We have fixed an issue where family players were not earning XP when turning off the fuse box. Family players will now properly receive XP when turning off the fuse box. Fixed spectator mode UI. We have fixed an issue where the text on screen was incorrect while viewing in spectator mode with the languages of Spanish, French, German, and Italian. Fixed sh text. We have fixed an issue where the text for sh didn't match on all platforms. The text description is now the same across all platforms. Fixed pausing interaction lock. We have fixed an issue where a player pauses at any point during a press and holds interaction. They were able to cancel the prompt until the interaction is completed. Players can now cancel the prompt at any point after this fix. Fixed tutorial stops playing. We have fixed an issue where tutorials would stop playing after watching multiple tutorials in a row. Tutorials and previews will now play properly after being selected. Fixed key binding pause key. We fixed an issue where players were able to bind an action to the pause key. Players will no longer be able to bind a pause key. Fixed perk what doesn't kill you. We have fixed an issue where the perk what doesn't kill you ignored damage reduction when restoring health. What doesn't kill you will now restore the actual amount of health you lost after a hit attack. Fixed garage stuck spot in Nancy's house. We have fixed an issue where players could get stuck under the garage door on Nancy's house map when the garage door was closed on them. Fixed Sunny's heightened sensibility. We have fixed an issue where Sunny's ability, heightened sense, was not highlighting characters through multiple layers of walls. Hiding sense can now detect characters through multiple layers of walls. Stuck spot gas station. We fixed an issue where players may have gotten stuck while crouching near a mattress in the house basement area on the gas station map. Players will no longer get stuck while crouching near the mattress in the house basement. Fixed victim disconnections. We have fixed an issue where the toolbox becomes non-interactive to a victim when the player temporarily loses connectivity while another victim is using the toolbox. The victim player will now be able to interact with the toolbox after temporarily disconnecting and reconnecting. Fixed party invite UI. We have fixed an issue where the player hosting the party quits the public match at the end scoreboard. The party code disappears from the UI and the native party no longer works. The code will also disappear for all party members, requiring a new party to be created. A new party code will now be created and shown in the UI. Private lobby invites. We fixed an issue where only the host of a private lobby could send party invites. All players in a private lobby can now send party invites. Fixed translated perk description. We have fixed an issue where the description for the perk jump scare was not translating to players' selected language. The perk jump scare will now translate correctly to the selected language. Fixed lighting slaughterhouse sliding door. We fixed an issue where the main sliding slaughterhouse door would appear unnaturally dark. Lighting on the textures has been applied and the sliding door now appears as it should. Fixed failed restraints minigame. We have fixed an issue where victims would fall off the restraints minigame twice after getting hit by a melee attack. Victims will fall off the restraints minigame permanently after being hit by a melee attack. Sunny's star sign ability and Nancy's traps. We have fixed an issue where Sunny would run through Nancy's traps with his star sign ability active, but this ability wasn't properly interrupted. Sunny's ability will now be interrupted if while going through Nancy's traps. Fixed player name unlisted from player list when leaving match. Players who left the match will now be displayed in the player list. Change lobby timer resetting. We have changed the lobby timer to not reset to 30 seconds if a sixth player hits on ready. This means that when the sixth person is in a lobby, hits on ready, the cooldown is not affected. Changed reporting system. We have made improvements to our reporting system. Players can now report a player for exploiting the game, cheating, offensive name or profile, spamming chat, trolling or griefing other players, abusive voice or chat communications, other. UI updates have been implemented to reflect these changes. Changed Tracking reports. We have added an extra telemetry points for the changes to the reporting system. Change report confirmation. Players will now receive a confirmation pop-up when they report another player due to the changes made to the reporting system. Change lobby timer. When a 7th player joins, we have made it so when 5 players are readied up and a 7th player enters the lobby, the match will start in 30 seconds. Change lobby timer. The lobby timer will not only be visible in the last 5 seconds before a match launches. Change prompts to entering a lobby with a blocked user. We made a change to the prompt that warns the player that they've entered a lobby with a blocked player. Previously, the continue and ready prompt shared the same button mapping as exit lobby. We have made it so there is only one button input instead of 2, so a player doesn't accidentally leave the lobby if they wanted to stay. Yeah, that's happened to me too. Change the Brazilian, Portuguese, and Russian language options. Brazilian, Portuguese, and Russian translations have been added into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Brazilian, Portuguese, and Russian are now available as language options in the menu. Change chip damage while in a grapple. Family players will no longer be able to instantly execute a victim who is grappling with another family player. Now, when a family player attacks a victim who is grappling a teammate, they will deal melee damage. We made this change as we felt it was unfair to victims with full health. Change trapping Leatherface exploit. We made a change that stops players from using to barge function to entrap Leatherface in a room. Leatherface will now be able to destroy and unlatch a door during a victim's barge interaction. Change game credits. We have made updates to the credits as some of them were outdated. Shout out to the awesome QA folks at Textronic. Change Danny's Instant Study. We have made changes to Level 3 Instant Study. Danny cannot tamper any item that is also instant studied, such as fuse box, generator, valve tank, and battery. The button prompts have been updated accordingly to reflect these changes. The ability tree has also been updated with a new description. Tune Nancy's Poison Claws duration. We have tuned the values of the duration of Nancy's Poison Claws per to 258 seconds. Previously, attacks would have a slight poison effect for 5, 10, 15 seconds. Tuned various telemetry. We have added in extra telemetry to better track data. The goal for this is to ensure our team can utilize the extra data as we continue to work on improving lobbies and matchmaking issues. Tuned Choose Flight perk. We have tuned the Choose Flight perk accordingly. Level 1 fills 50% of stamina, single charge. Level 2 fills 75% of stamina, single charge. Level 3 fills 100% of stamina, single charge. Tuned Bomb Squad perk. We have tuned Bomb Squad as follows. Level 1, 2 charges. Level 2, 3 charges. And level 3, 4 charges. And plus 50% dismantle speed. Tuned Easily Tuckered Out perk. We have adjusted Easily Tuckered Out as follows. Level 1, your attacks use 10% less stamina, but the stamina regeneration rate is 50% slower. Level 2, your attacks use 20% less stamina, but the stamina regeneration rate is 45% slower. And level 3, your attacks use 30% less stamina, but the stamina regeneration rate is 40% slower. Tune Confusing Mechanic perk. We have tuned the Confusing Mechanic to adjust the change made to have generators start during a match. Perk holders will now be able to use it on the battery fuse and valve too. Tune Leatherface's destruction animation. We have made it so Leatherface destroys barricades quicker. Tune Rough Cut perk. We have tuned the perk Rough Cut to reset the bleed out duration with each hit from Leatherface. The bleed values do not stack. Tune Noise VFX threshold. We have made an increase to the noise VFX distance thresholds for the valve pressures tank. This means that players will be able to see the noise of VFX for a player interacting with both the valve and the pressure tank. Tune Leatherface's Instant Start. We have made Leatherface's Instant Start shorter. When equipped, his chainsaw will start faster. Tuned Thicker Blood Trails. We have adjusted blood trails to be thicker. Tuned Noise Highlight when slamming door. We have tuned the noise highlight following a victim slamming a door. It will now only highlight a player for 1 second. That's much better. Tune, Danny's knowledge gained. We have rebalanced the amount of knowledge that Danny gains from items such as lamps, toolboxes, radios, TVs, generators, valve handles, and fuses. Tune, Danny's inspect speed. We have tuned Danny's inspect speed to be 20% at level 1 and 50% at level 2. To report any and all existing or persistent issues, please use the support site. Thanks for your continued support and patience. Keep the conversation going on our official subreddit, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And that is it for the February 6th, 2024 patch notes for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. Thank you for watching.